We're just chilling on this Saturday with you. Thanks for hanging out. I'm Colleen Wolfe. We got Mike Garafolo.
What's happening?
Yo, yo. We got Michael Robinson.
Hey, people, what's going on?
And our special guest this week in for D'Angelo Hall. It is Tom Pelissero.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, sometimes known as Tom Pellegrino, apparently, when he's extra
Mike Rob.
I'm sorry.
You guys can tweet us using the hashtag GMFB all show long. But let's start the show where we have so many times with Antonio Brown. Yesterday, the Patriots cut the wide receiver after one game, less than 2 weeks after signing him. And Rob was right about this.
I did tell you that.
This was all amid allegations of sexual assault and threatening text messages that surfaced Thursday to Sports Illustrated from a second accuser. So the Patriots, they have moved on. Mike Giardi, he joins us live from Foxborough with the latest. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Colleen. And it was those text messages to the second accuser that you just mentioned that were really the breaking point for ownership. They decided at that point there was no reason to proceed on with Antonio Brown on the football team. A little bit of a harder decision for the football coaching staff here in New England, who appreciated the work ethic that Antonio Brown had showed and his willingness to embrace the team culture and, of course, the playbook. I think it's very interesting here when you look at Antonio Brown's situation, the overall effect on the locker room. And those guys, as we mentioned a couple weeks ago, were talking about a new teammate that had just walked in the door with serious allegations attached to his name. And it was a very uncomfortable, very tense situation. No one wanted to downplay that, but they were trying to be professional, accept him into the room, and, of course, press forward. Not an easy thing to do for the New England Patriots. They made the decision late yesterday to cut ties with Antonio Brown. Texted a couple players, got responses back. One said, I said, what do you think about this? He said, time to beat the Jets. The other one says, the show must go on, period, end of story. They're already moving forward. And quite frankly, Antonio Brown was only here for 11 days, so I don't think it's going to be all that hard for that locker room to do so, Colleen.
Yeah, Mike, this for sure put the Patriots players in an odd situation, having to sort of talk about him right off the jump when a lot of them never even played with him. So, Mike, thank you. And
thank you.
Garafolo, I'm going to start here with you because this is a situation that just continues to unfold with many different layers.
Yeah, well, what happens next for AB, I think, is what's everybody's biggest question mark here. A lot of folks around the league with teams, Tom, you can tell me if you're hearing differently, not hearing that same line at the door to get him the last time. And it's a different situation because last time it was stuff that's happening with the team. It was a helmet thing. It was him leaving camp. And not on the commissioner's exempt list because he's not under contract with anybody right now. So the investigation will continue. They'll speak. The league is with Antonio Brown at some point. Don't know where that's going to be right now, but all of this is leading towards certainly not any time in the near future we're going to see Antonio Brown on a team.
I got a preemptive text from an executive with one of the teams that had been rumored to be interested in Antonio Brown last time, right after he was released, saying not interested. This is absolutely a different case than what we had before. And let's talk about how things went down here with the New England Patriots. My understanding is Antonio Brown was on extremely thin ice from the moment that the initial allegation of sexual assault came out a day after he had signed with the Patriots. At that point, really all that was saving AB in New England was the fact this was a civil complaint and not a criminal complaint. If he had been criminally charged, he's probably gone at that point. Now fast forward to Wednesday night, Robert Klemko of Sports Illustrated publishes the text messages from Antonio Brown to a second woman, showing photos of her children. Whatever the intention was, intimidation or otherwise, that took it to another level, and it was something that happened while AB was in the Patriots building. You saw the frustration from Bill Belichick when he walked out on his press conference yesterday. He'd had 4 press conferences since they signed AB. 3 of them were all about AB, and 2 of them were not in any particularly good terms. So Robert Kraft was not in the building yesterday. He's somebody who empowers his football people, but he also holds them accountable. Belichick and Kraft spoke after practice yesterday. At that point, the key question from Kraft was, how can you promise me that this is not going to happen again? Well, Belichick can't say that he can promise it will not happen again. Collaboratively, they decided it was the best thing for the Patriots to move on.
Yeah, the New England Patriots and most NFL teams like smart players. And some of Antonio Brown's actions just don't make sense. It just doesn't seem smart, just doesn't seem intelligent. What a lesson this is for young athletes, especially young good athletes, 5-star athletes across the country. You cannot do what you want. You see what I'm saying? Just because you can run, you can catch, you can do all of these things, there's a certain game that has to be played, and I'm not talking about the game on the field. You have to be able to access that business is booming and to be able to access the resources you want to bring back to your community and all of these things. You got to act a certain way, and Antonio Brown did not act that way.
Yeah, you have to be accountable, and that's what we're seeing here. So it'll be interesting to see if he plays another game this season, if he plays another game ever. So we'll get into it a little bit more later on in the show. But